Hi everyone! Today we are diving into the world of jewelry design with a unique character. We're going to create a one-of-a-kind Ruinism style ring using Nomad Sculpt on the iPad. What is Ruinism? It's the aesthetic of beautiful destruction. We aren't aiming for perfectly smooth surfaces. On the contrary, we'll give the piece the look of an ancient artifact weathered by time, complete with its cracks, pores, and the raw texture of wild stone. In this video, we'll cover the entire journey, creating the base shape of the ring, integrating a complex pattern generated by AI, bringing the metal to life with textures, and most importantly, using my web app JewelCalc to calculate the predicted metal weight and create an additional size for production. There's a lot of practice ahead, so grab your styluses, let's go. Let's start with the foundation. Delete the base sphere from the scene. I'll add a cylinder and rotate it 90 degrees. This cylinder will be the core of our ring. I'm making a ring with a size of 20 millimeters, and to maintain an internal thickness of 2.5 millimeters, we need to set this cylinder to 25 millimeters. I'll clone this cylinder, make it slightly longer, and set its size to 20 millimeters. I'll change its mat cap for convenience. I think I should make it even longer. Let it be like this. I'll tap the three dots here to adjust the topology of this cylinder, and then I can hit validate. To help with thickness orientation, we'll add two reference cubes, 1.6 millimeters and 2.5 millimeters. They will help us control the thickness of the ring at the bottom and the sides. Using the bottom cube as a guide, I'll move the green cylinder up, like this. Now, I'll add another cube to the scene. From this, the top part, the platform, of the ring will be built. In this menu, we tap the three dots and change the size of this cube. I think 20 millimeters will be enough. The mesh of this cube is currently too dense, which we don't need right now. So let's adjust the topology. I think 5 will be sufficient. I'll move it higher. I think it will be easier for me to change the shape of the ring if the y-axis topology is set to 3 instead of 5. Hit validate. Next, using a custom move brush that works through the full depth of the model and with symmetry enabled on the X and Z axes, I'll give our cube this shape. Using the gizmo tool, I'll compress it because it's a bit too tall. I'll clone it. This will be the top platform. I'll squash and scale it down. Alright, let's go back to fitting the previous part. Using cell mask and the gizmo tool, I'll pull the cube's shape toward the green cylinder, creating a smooth transition from the top to the middle of the ring. Like this, it looks good. Let's go back to the green cylinder, the shank. I'll stretch it to the width of the top and adjust the topology just so these squares are similar in size. Next, I'll mask the central part of the shank and change its shape using the gizmo. Like this. With the move brush, I'll refine the shape a bit. I'll merge these two parts using Boolean and definitely recalculate the mesh using voxel remeshing. Next, we do a quad remesh with a value of 256. But before that, I'll turn off all these options. That's it, almost what we need. But just to be safe and ensure symmetry, I'll mirror the sides so I can be sure both sides are identical. Next, I'll use cell mask again for masking and the gizmo tool to taper the ring's shape all the way to the bottom. It also looks like the top of the ring needs a slight fix. I'll be using multi-resolution, but before that, we need to add extra edges in the places where we want to keep sharper borders. So with the split function using these settings, we first cut the element in two parts and then merge them back into one piece with the join command. Let's at least name the main parts because I'm already getting confused. Now we can hit subdivide. Let's do it a few times. As you can see from our red cubes, we need to increase the thickness of the shank. To do this, we first go back in multi-resolution, drop down to the lower level, and fix this issue with the gizmo. Now we can return to the high level in multi-resolution. I'll also add an edge for the top platform and apply multi-resolution. For the sides, I'll use a depth map generated by artificial intelligence, which I prepared in advance. This map will allow us to apply the pattern to the model as a 3D relief. Here are my prompts and the results I got. I liked this version, so I cut it out from the unnecessary background and additionally ran it through the height map generator, Sculptok. You can find my referral link for the service in the description. Back to the video. I'll make a copy of the ring and recalculate its mesh using voxel remeshing. The mesh should be dense enough. We take the stamp brush and here I load the pattern image. I'll turn off symmetry and try to stretch the pattern evenly across the surface. I also need to hit the right height, as it keeps ending up too low or too high. I think it would be easier if I turn on the grid and X-ray mode. I'm trying to place the pattern. Oh, I forgot. I should change the fall off to this one, a flat one. It's not working on the first try, but I'll settle on this version. Next, using the trim function with these settings, I'll cut away the pattern and all the excess. I want to have the pattern separate from the ring. Maybe this wasn't the best way to do the pattern, but this time I'll do it like this. At this stage, I'll mirror the left side so everything is symmetrical. Remember that the pattern cannot just hang in the air. It must enter the ring's surface at least a little so that everything merges correctly with a boolean later. Thanks to polygroups and the mask, I can do this. Selecting mask and on tap, I click on the back of the pattern. It gets masked. I invert the mask, select the gizmo, and pull the thickness of the pattern out like this, so the pattern, intersects with the ring's surface. I'll smooth out these sharp corners. I don't like them. I also need to recalculate the polygonal mesh of the pattern, so I hit voxel remeshing and continue smoothing its surface. I plan to sink the pattern into the ring, so using a mask, I'll create a recess in the ring. I apply the mask, trying to make it even and neat. Next, I need to extract this mask in both directions. I decided to do 2 mm. That's 1 mm in each direction. But it would have been better to do 0.8 mm each way. Although the internal thickness is 2.5 mm, because the profile is convex and tapers, its thickness also narrows toward the edges, and as it turns out later, 1 mm will be too much. I hit extract, remove the mask from the ring, change the matte cap of these plates, and use them to boolean the recess. I select the gizmo to shift our pattern. Next, I'll use polygroups again and mask through on tap to mask the entire ring except for the area under the pattern. I want to apply a rough texture here. It's laying down poorly because the polygonal mesh isn't dense enough. To make this texture lay down nicely, we need to recalculate the ring's surface. So we do voxel remeshing and apply the texture. Like this. That's better. I remove the mask from the ring and adjust the pattern's position a bit more. It looks good. I need to mirror the pattern to the opposite side. And now for the most interesting part. I'm going to turn this perfect shape into an artifact. But first, I need to merge all parts of the ring using the boolean function. Next, I start eating away at the metal in certain places with the clay brush, creating pits and irregularities, and sometimes I smooth these areas with the smooth brush. This will help create the effect of eroded metal. The main thing is to consider the ring's thickness and not gnaw through to a hole. This is how I'll prepare the surface for the final detailing. Don't forget to recalculate the polygonal mesh as well. To continue, I'll clone the mask brush and set its stroke parameter to lock plus radius. Here in fall off, I'll choose a flat application option, and I'll probably also select front facing just in case. Next, I'll be using textures. They allow for adding pores, scratches, and micro cracks. By the way, these textures, along with the base shape of this ring, are already available for my Patreon subscribers. So I select the pore texture. Wait, let's first mask the ring and erase the mask from those places where our pores will be. Now we apply the mask with the pore texture and use sculpting tools to bring out the Ruinism texture. Well, I think it looks cool. It's clear that in metal there will be fewer of these scratches than we have now in the 3D render, but these deep pores will definitely remain, and the ring as a whole will look very epic. I'll recalculate the model's polygonal mesh. Precious metal has become significantly more expensive lately, so to keep the ring from being too heavy and expensive to produce, we need to make an internal hollow. We clone the model, recalculate its mesh with a lower polygon count, then apply a mask like this. In the settings, we need to do a split with a negative thickness value, for example, minus 0.9 millimeters. Next, we delete this small part. And with the split brush, using these settings, I'll cut it like this. I'll delete this part. Now I'll click Separate because I need the inner surface. And here is my first mistake. To avoid these intersections, I should have recalculated the model's mesh first. So we go back, recalculate the mesh, cut the center again, and divide the model into parts. As I said, we need the inner part specifically. So we keep it and recalculate its mesh. Also, for convenience, we invert its polygons so it looks normal. We can smooth the surface a bit, not much, as it will affect the thickness change. I'll change the matte cap to better understand what's happening here. Now I need to pull the bottom part inside the cylinder, like this. And right here, because I changed the matte cap of this cylinder, I saw the second mistake. These spots mean it will be too thin. Definitely not 0.8 millimeters. And 0.8 is my minimum allowable thickness. So I need to save the situation somehow. First, I'll add another cylinder to the scene. Its radius should be 0.8 millimeters larger than our size. I'll make it red and longer. I'll delete this. I turn on the ring, and now the problem areas are clearly visible. In these places, I gnawed away too much material. I don't want to go back to when I started gnawing the metal, so I'll build it up locally now. I think it will be better to mask these areas I'll be working with. There's a problem area here too. As I said earlier, 1 mm for sinking the pattern was too much in this specific case, so I need to build up the material here as well. Fortunately, the Ruinism style itself will forgive all these mistakes. So we mask here too, and now we do it with symmetry turned on. Once the problem areas are masked, I invert the mask. With the clay brush, I can build up the material like this, or we can choose the inflate brush, and in my opinion, that works even better. I could also build it up here, though it's probably not critical. I can remove the mask and work a bit more with inflate. I'll recalculate the mesh. I'll clone the model again and recalculate the clone's mesh with fewer polygons. For the third time, I'll mask the center of the ring like this. The value here is -0.9. By the way, it's better here to either choose borders only with some minimal value or turn off automatic smoothing altogether, as it ruins the uniformity of the thickness. I hit split and we delete this part. As we can see, it's a mess inside, so we definitely recalculate the mesh with the remesher. Next, using split in circle mode, we cut it one more time like this and delete the cut-off part. Now I'll hit separate, find and pull the part I need out of the group and delete everything else. I'll recalculate the mesh of this part and adjust the display of its normals. I like how it looks, so I'll leave it like that. Now I need to pull the bottom part into the cylinder. Like this. Boolean it together, and then a final boolean to get the hollow product. I really like the result. Moreover, you saw the process, not perfect, with mistakes and their solutions. I hope you enjoy these videos I make. Next, let's look at this ring in a silver render with oxidation. It looks absolutely fantastic. This might be my favorite style at the moment. Well, the model is ready, and I want to know its weight in silver. The model has almost 1.7 million polygons, which is overkill. There's no point in such a high count. So let's reduce them a bit. Here in the decimation section, I'll slide this toggle and hit decimate. This will be better and lighter. We export the STL and upload it to my web app, JewelCalc. I hit calculate. There shouldn't be two parts here, which means there's a tiny bit of noise somewhere. No big deal. I'll go to advanced settings, turn on filter small parts, and hit calculate again. That's it. The noise is gone. And the weight of our ring in silver will be approximately 17.6 grams. Here is also the weight in gold. Let's make an additional size. It's very simple and fast. In Smart Resizer, we hit Auto Detect. The size was recognized as 20 millimeters, which is correct. I want to make it a US size 12. We set the boundary lines, and voila, the size is ready. I hit calculate, then the row in the table, and then the STL button. And that's all. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, check out Patreon for textures, and use JewelCalc for your projects. See you!